Observe Act looks at the total experience of a service through the eyes of a service user. In doing an Observe Act, we want to learn from it, share good practice, and then make improvements. We have action plans always with Observe Act.
Observe Act really is a superb tool for ensuring patient inclusion and engagement. You get the patient's perspective, the patient's viewpoint, which is completely different to the clinical viewpoint, and you get to see what really matters to the patients. For instance, at the reception point, if you have somebody who comes to the reception who may have hearing impairment or be deaf, it's interesting to see how the staff deal with those issues and how well prepared they are to make the patient feel included.
I really like the Observe and Act tool because it's the little changes that we can make that we often don't see as staff members, and they can make a real difference to patient experience. People without a clinical background are given the opportunity to bring fresh eyes to an environment.
We don't often have the opportunities to be able to undertake visits, so I think Observe and Act tool has given us that wonderful opportunity. Our main focus from a commissioning perspective is to quality assure all the services that we commission, and an important component of part of that obviously is the patient experience element. So for us to be able to use a tool such as an Observe and Act is incredibly valuable.
Very often we can get quick wins from doing a Observe and Act that can make a real difference to our service users from their experience while visiting our services across the trust. Just a slight change in the way that we deliver the service, or it can be where we position something in the waiting room. This can make a vast difference on a service user's experience within combined healthcare.
Every one of us is different, and services need to be accessible to all.
One thing about Observe and Act is that it shouldn't become a tick box exercise. It is a process which initiates change. You're observing the environment, you're observing communication, health and safety, you're looking for inclusion.
Providing Observe and Act training for students and newly qualified staff enables them to see our services through a different perspective, through the eyes of the patient. They can also be involved in receiving and sharing feedback with clinical teams and in undertaking any actions that might be required following Observe and Act.
In Shropshire, we have a whole cross-section of people who do Observe and Act, from board members, admin staff, volunteers obviously. It can involve everybody in the organisation, and it's actually a really good way for people to get to know other parts of the organisation. Perhaps somebody who's normally works in an office can come in and see what kind of things are happening in our hospitals. So a whole cross-section.
I really like the Observe and Act tool because staff receive immediate feedback on what is going well. The tool facilitates improvement, not just by providing feedback, but by giving the opportunity to plan and implement changes.
I was really interested because it gives a differing view. You do the training, but actually as part of that training, you go away and do. So you learn, you do, and you go back and share how it was, what you learned, what was okay about it, what wasn't okay about it.
I'm actually looking at it as a member of the public or a person accessing those services. So I go in, we start at the outside, can people find their way in, are there signs? Because quite often people will just tell you when something's gone wrong. They don't come and say, you're doing a wonderful job. You smile at everybody who comes in and they make them welcome, and you always go out of your way. But it is important that there's reinforcement of the positive things that we find. But you don't have to be afraid of saying, well, this could have been better.
4 key themes was a flexible framework was seen to be very crucial. The fact it has distinctive value, looking at the patient's perspective. Service user involvement was another crucial, it seemed to be a crucial aspect of the tool, and feedback and action plans was another theme. We're absolutely behind it as a tool and its value in looking at patient experience, and I think that's its ability or its scope, its collaborative approach. So again, not being an inspection, the sense that it's a critical friend, it's there to support the process, it's not there to criticise, and about their action plans being jointly developed with the services. I think that was absolutely crucial. Other things that came through was around the breadth of staff that can take part in Observe and Act. I think that's really crucial, the fact it's clinical staff, non-clinical staff and volunteers as well. So really, I suppose, breaking down boundaries between different areas as well, and that knowledge sharing, the kind of collective intelligence from the processes, and enhancing patient experience. So
it's not an inspection, it's actually what it says on the tin. People observe and then there's actions taken based on those observations.
We're all patients or potential service users, aren't we? So to be able to see a service through a patient's eye is a really, it's a different lens, it's really valuable, and will help to improve what we offer to our communities.
Observe and Act tool measures different things than a lot of the other tools that are available. It measures it from the service user, the carer's family point of view, more than perhaps some of the others do.
From my perspective and in evaluation as an independent evaluator, it really was clear the people taking part had an enthusiasm for an Observe and Act.
There's the opportunity there to talk to patients, to talk to staff, to talk to carers, and that's important, and it's a human touch, and I think that's very important.
It really is joint working, it really is inclusive, it's engaging.